Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 289. Let's get to it. Now, if you're looking for 288, it may be out there, it may not be. Uploaded to YouTube. It's been stuck on processing for a day, and I don't know if it'll ever kick out of that, but I did delete the originals, and so I can't repost it in that event, and so that's kind of unfortunate. And then we'll see if we can't keep my level of salt down. This has been kind of a frustrating day as far as the trials are concerned. I had an actual buried sun disk run that just completely fell apart, and so I figured we'd get to see like the sun disk in one trial. Since it's so hard to find that epic and it doesn't live in any card pools, and then it just fell apart in an uninteresting trial. And then the next one, like we I put together this I had this idea that we could put together like Renekton with Leona and then use the Daybreak units as for a means of getting good challenges, and then it's just like at the end of the draft, like the only 1, 2, or 3 drop units that we saw were like Starry Scamps, which are fine, but then we had 2 gift givers, and then everything else was just like Stellacorns, and like the little Stellacorn at 2 mana. It was fucking abysmal trial. It was ultimately frustrating, and so if I'm a little salty through this one, I do apologize, but we'll see if we can't improve our improve our mood with this one. And so with this, I see like kind of 2 things we could do here. I don't want to take Soraka. I just don't think that she's particularly good. You can take her as a support champion, but I don't like taking support champions with our first pack. You just have to find an extremely good pairing in the second pack, or your trial just falls flat. So we can take either the Elise or the Zed. Both are completely fine. With Elise, I am kind of interested in her. I do have the ideals of, she improves with the addition of Kindred. If we're looking to, say, piece together another Fearsomes deck, you get access to Mask Mother, you get access to Kindred himself. Lots of good things that you can do there. And then the thing I'm going to try to pursue here is with the Zed. I still have the ideal that we can pair up Zed with a Shurima champion and do cool things with the Sand Soldiers and the Sparring Students, and have a nice little all-encompassing deck here. And so we'll see if it plays out. Given the way the day has gone, I'm pretty sure we won't see a Shurima champion in the second pack, but we are planning on taking the Shadows and Dust Zed. So let's take a moment. We'll get him pulled up on the site. Here's the Solar Winds Leona that took me. It had like so many options for paddle stars. I know we went through the entire trial without seeing a Shield Bearer, a Soldier, a Sunforger, Ravoon, Solari Priestess. We ended up with some weird combination of like 2 Sunbursts and 2 Eclipse Dragons, and yeah, it's just I'm getting salty seeing it pulled up here. Nonetheless, let's scroll down to Zed. Go to Shadows and Dust. And this ultimately just turns into a sparring student deck, right? So the idea that we have with this pool pairs up with Hecarim. The Hecarim side has a whole bunch of ways to put a bunch of ephemeral units into play. So you can use things like Haunted Relic to put 3 units on the board. You can use Zed Horse Spell to put 2 units on the board. And then you're going to be using those multi-unit things to really level up your sparring students and Green Glade duos. In general, I don't think that's really worth pursuing in that sense. I think like Haunted Relic is too bad of a card to actually want to pursue that. But the sparring students and Green Glade duos are completely fine. If we get Zed in that curve counting as 2 units, that's the kind of ideal way to go about this. You're going to have a sparring student into Green Glade duo into Zed curve and just have a ton of stats on the board. And that's really just ultra aggression is what we're going for here, and so that's what we're looking to do. Kind of the idea I have as far as Shurima is concerned is maybe we play like an Emperor's Diaz on our opponent's turn and just have a way to keep generating units on every attack without actually playing any cards from our hand, and so we'll see how it comes together. Again, I'm pretty sure. Let's just go ahead and be salty and say there's no Shurima that's going to show up. Oh boy, it's a Nasus. Okay, so we can do this. I'm kind of interested in Nasus in multiple ways, and so I'm glad that someone cool showed up. So we could actually be in Shurima. He's not like the ideal pairing for Zed here. I don't think that he ever comes into play at 6 mana and is like super relevant. The game's always just over at that point. And these aren't cards that we're particularly interested in playing either, but I do think Rite of Calling is kind of interesting in that if we're really searching to pick up a Zed, then we should be able to get him by the third turn with the help of Rite of Calling. But no, like with this Slayers Nasus, some of these cards should be interesting. I was ideally looking for some of these Azir cards, right? So if we're going to play like Azir, we get the free Sand Soldiers. We have things like Emperor's Diaz to just put the units on board for every attack. And then you could technically use like Emperor's Diaz for things like Shark Chariots out of the Shadow Isles half of this deck. But maybe some of this stuff will show up. But at least with Nasus, we do have access to the challengers. And so, where are you at, friend? Nasus. FGHJK. Oh my gosh, we're almost there. Almost there. Boom, found it. Okay, and so, ideally, there's not a whole lot of good units for what we're trying to do here, but this does have access to the vulnerable package, which should play out well with Zed since he has quick attack. So, we have the Exhaust, the Rockhopper, the Ruthless Predator. And then we can use Ruthless Predator to set up some of these attacks where maybe we give like Green Glade Duo +2 attack and then vulnerable our opponent's only blocker out of the way. We can get some things going like that. I think that just a handful of these cards should be pretty relevant. I think Quicksand should take away Elusive. Not 100% sure. I get real confused what the game actually thinks a keyword is, but it seems like that should be a thing. And again, it's another way to protect our Zed. And the top hint here at least does have Nasus has Fearsome, so we can get around some attacks. Things like Rampaging Bukai have Overwhelm, and then in the removal spell department, doing things like Siphoning Strike onto Zed to give him +2/+2, pretty powerful. And so, there's at least some combos in here. It's not exactly the combos we were looking for, but I think it's something that we could pull off. Okay, so Nasus it is. So let's see. Here ideally, I want to be getting these early game plays. This deck, it's ultimately super important to be playing a 1, 2, and 3 drop curve. And then it's also really sweet if we can end up finding some Young Witches, which would again play quite well with this vulnerable theme if we're able to go back to it. So here, at least we're getting a Blade Scout. I haven't actually played with Shadow Apprentice. I don't think it's very good, but it could be okay. Just going to be pretty hard for us to actually have an ephemeral on the board, right? We're not going to play anything to actually generate them. We're either going to have Zed tokens or Sand Soldiers, and so this is ultimately just going to be a 1/1 elusive. But, it's better than playing a 5-drop in this style of deck. So, okay, here's the real thunder if we want to go for it in the Shark Chariot. This is an ephemeral that we could get on the board for the purposes of Shadow Apprentice. But ultimately, right, if we're looking to, say, attack with a Sand Soldier, we could immediately get Shark Chariot back on the board. And then we have Soul Shepherd to give our Sand Soldiers +1/+1. And so, in general, I think we might be kind of like too far out of the way for these to happen. But on the flip side of the coin, we also haven't seen any sparring students yet. And so let's do it. Let's do it, boys. Let's dive in. I think we can ideally get something together with these Shark Chariots, maybe. And so, okay, I don't want to like completely dive on that path. I am happy enough to take sparring students. This kind of shows you the chain of things that we could happen with sparring students. So let's imagine that we played Sparring Student on 1, Shark Chariot on 2, and attacked with it, or even just played it and let it die, however we want to look at this scenario. And then turn 3, we play Emperor's Diaz in another 1-drop, right? So now we attack with the Sparring Students, it's already a 2/2. The student, summons the Sand Soldier, making it a 3/3, then the Sand Soldier brings out the Shark Chariot, making it a 4/4. That's kind of the big chains that you're supposed to be doing with Shadows and Dust. Ultimately where we get a lot of power out of these Sparring Students and Green Glade Duos. So happy enough to pick that one up. And here, this is a pretty weak pack, but I think we're happy enough to take another Rite of Calling and Chronomancer. I think with this Rite of Calling, I'm okay to even play it on 3 and well, you can't play it on 3 and sacrifice a mana crystal and get Zed into play. That was kind of what I was thinking. But maybe if we're on the evens and do it on turn 4, right? Play a 1-drop and then try to find a Zed on 3. That's not the end of the world. And so at least we're getting a 2-drop here. These other cards aren't quite playable enough, right? We're not going to be in Mist Wraith's Pesky Spectre is too bad of a card. So we're kind of stuck with at least just picking up a 2-drop. Okay. So here is some of the paths to doing Sand Soldiers. It's not a particularly good path to go about it. As far as these Sand Soldiers are concerned, I'm cool with Dunekeeper. I'm cool with the Sand person, the 3/5, and then I'm cool with Emperor's Diaz. But I think if we're gonna try to get this going, the Dunekeeper is probably a reasonable way to do it. He's also plays, fantastically with sparring students. Desert's Wrath is kind of weak here, but it's much in the same boat. And so let's see if we can't get more on theme and have these cards show up. Okay. All right, pretty weak set here. I mean, the Esteemed Hierophant would be fine. There's nothing wrong with playing 3/4s for 3. Golden Ambassador will be trash. We'll never hit this Allegiance, so we can let that one go. I think we're kind of stuck just taking Ruthless Predator Ricochet. And if there's a deck where Ricochet could ever be good, it's probably this one, since we should be keeping our opponent's boards pretty clear. And it hopefully would just be like a bad Darius flip. I can never remember the name of any cards. Darius flip. That's where we'll stop. So let's skip on that one. Here, this is a pretty weak set of cards. I think we just have to take the Warden's Prey with the Onslaught of Shadows. I don't want Boomerang Blades or Vengeance. They're both just a little bit too expensive. I mean, is that where we really have to be here? Just taking Vengeances? I could see it being okay. These other packs are just so bad. It's like, I don't want Onslaught of Shadows. Can't play Golden Ambassador. We could technically do something with a Raz. But has us taking, God, it's brutal. Let's just take the removal spells and just, before we get mad. God, these cards are so expensive now. Is this our third Rite of Calling with Ruthless Predator? Okay, otherwise, I mean, we're never playing at the Rekindler. We have enough late game, just spells. I would rather, if we could, get rid of Weight of Judgment, Ricochet, Boomerang Blade, and Vengeance, all for the cost of an atrocity. I would do it in a heartbeat, but can't. That's not the way the game works. Okay, alrighty, well, these will work out. Our first Greenglade duo, Blighted Caretaker makes the Saplings, which, plays well all around the board. As, multiple units for a Sparring student. It makes Ephemerals for Shark Chariots. The Ephemerals get the bonus from Soul Shepherd. Lots of things going on with these Blighted Caretakers. Okay, alrighty, well, it's our second Sparring student. We have a tough time passing these. Okay, this is more along the lines of what I want a Vengeance pack to be looking like, not having to take it with Boomerang Blade. But here, we got a Dunekeeper and an Emperor's Diaz. I think it's just exactly what we're looking for. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Sparring student with the duo. Oh man, things are turning around here at the end. Okay, alrighty, and here I am happy enough to trade out Ricochet for Siphoning Strike. They are pretty similar, but again, if we're in a spot to where we're kind of trying to like top deck and we make a 5/5 Zed, or even if it's, there's not very many worlds where we don't play something on the first turn, but let's just imagine that, on turn 2 we play a 1/1, a 1/2, play Zed on 3, and then Siphoning Strike on 4 with the 1 spell mana banked. Like that's huge. Just go ahead and kill a unit and then turn your Zed into a 5 attacker. Like I'm pretty on board with this style of thing. So cool, yeah, I think this came together reasonably. And if you're not familiar, the thing that we have to do here is make a card premium. This game does happen to be a pay-to-win game, and your premium cards just perform a little bit better than the non-premium versions. And so we do need to go and turn one of these premium. I think for the most part, these commons are all done. Dunekeeper's up, Mentor's probably up, Blade Scouts are up, Shadow Apprentice will be a new one, Sparring Students are leveled. Then we're getting out of the commons. I'll have to double check on the elusives, and maybe Soul Shepherd will count as well. But let's take a peek here real quick. Look at the old collection. So we got elusive. Where does that get us? Regions. Just the ones we're playing, please. Sharma? Cool. So yeah, we can get Shadow Apprentice. Or what were these other ones? We got to look for Sand Soldiers. Yeah, Dunekeeper's already leveled up. There's an argument to level up the Diaz, but it's a rare at this point. So we're going to be using this new elusive. Maybe he'll, he's got this ephemeral text on him. That means he's kind of on theme and stuff. And so we'll have to see how he plays. Kind of interested in how this guy works here. All right, here we go. All right, if we get like one good game of this, like the salt will be rinsed from my body. We'll be back on the low sodium diet. These will be looking good. It's kind of scary going against Lysandra. She has that 1 damage AoE that That could be causing some problems. But here, I mean, you could see how neat this hand would be if we had a sparring student to start with. So that's what we're trying to work with here is these sparring students. I'm pretty sure he's leveled up. He has to be at this point. Card out of Foundations. Did we burn our mana crystal to draw our Nasus? No?
The winter's claw strikes.
Got it.
Do not fear the shrouded.
I mean, we're probably just opening here. Well, I was gonna say I am kind of like interested in what we can do with Ruthless Predator. It's gonna be awkward though, right? We have to give something the boost pre-combat. I was kind of having in my head that we could maybe do it post-combat, the +2 attack post-combat. But all right, so who do we want to touch on here? I think we're good to just play Desert's Wrath. Make a huge sparring student. If he has the Lysandra thing to give everything 1 damage to everything, it kind of sucks, but this is it. This is what the deck's supposed to be doing, right? Okay, then our big worry here would be him having like a brittle steel to take down our Zed. Just nothing we can do about that. Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is what you're supposed to be doing, right? Just repping lethal on the 4th turn if they have no blocks, coming in for the full 20. Pretty cool if you ask me. I think we're going to get like brittle steel or he's going to have the AoE, but Troll Chant? Oh boy. That at least lets Lysandra take down Zed. Hit for 1 million. Okay. All right, this is probably done. We're pretty all in at that point, but we'll see how this plays out. Okay. All right, your only choice. Could go and fetch up Nasus, but he's not going to really do anything here. Okay. So we can get 3 out of these, right? We can play the ephemeral one first to turn this into a 2/2, and then we can get 2 damage out of Ruthless Predator would get us to 5. Of course, we're gonna have to find a little bit more here. Oh, you count for yourself? It's pretty cool. So it gets us up to 6. I think we have to save like Ruthless Predator to go face with. Is that right? Try to get a lethal next, or we'd be 1 short on our next attack. Okay. Dude, this guy's a lame-o. Learn to have fun, bro. Alright, well, at least kept our units on the board, so we can Rite of Calling, kill an ally. Sure. Then, I don't think we're going to get lethal next turn. None of these cards in our hand look particularly appealing. But we can't let all this mana go. Like, we have to play something now. So I guess Let's go ahead and Vengeance. And hopefully get a good Nasus strike at some point in the future. 3-3 Nasus. He's 4-4 now. Absolutely dead. One of the things I do not like about Rite of Calling. It's so bad in the early... well, it has the potential to be pretty bad in the early games.
Honor is the rust on a dull blade.
The spirits will not tolerate your trespass.
They can take it up with my blade. It's a living.
This is all he attacks with. We'll just pass. If he doesn't rep lethal, we'll just pass. Okay. So I mean, at least it's open to getting killed by like a ricochet or something, but. Yep. Okay. See where this gets us. Gets us to smush on the concede button when he has a harsh wins here, but. Okay, we can deal with that. So let's give you +2. And then I guess we just want to go after his Lysandra. Really? That's... This game.
All unmeasured.
The reason that I get salty with this is you can't spell shield a judgment, right? It's supposed to be cards that strike. Typically, you can't spell shield. I'd known that was going to be the case. I would have just Ruthless Predator his Sivir. But I mean, I guess we could have checked the Oracle's Eye before we let it go, but ultimately the inconsistencies like that are ultimately super frustrating. Like, I think Judgment doesn't get spell shielded. I don't know. It's so weird. Like, why a strike gets spell shielded. Alright, let me see here. Trading out Desert's Wrath for Sandcrafter actually seems pretty good. Sandcrafter is good all the time, whereas the Desert's Wrath isn't. I think this is a pretty reasonable trade. Neverglade Collector tends to be a little bit too slow for me in these decks, but that's how I want to do it. How many generators do we actually have? We have 2 Dunekeepers and the Diaz. That's it? Yeah, I think we want the Sandcrafter. Okay. But no, it's like, I get it, like when it comes to say, like, you know, you're playing Magic and you end up in one of these like weird things because your opponent played Humility and you don't know what what actually happens. Like, you know, but I mean, yes, we could have clicked the Oracle's Eye, but the stuff is just like so unintuitive as far as like spell shields seem to be concerned. I think that, you know, and we've gotten to this point to where, you know, I've almost recorded 300 expeditions and I still don't know how the rules work. Like, I don't know if that one's on me or on them, but it's certainly on somebody. Here, what is this? Quinn Azir. Should be safe with a Zed, not needing the the defensive Twin Disciplines. Let's just go ahead and do this. Kill an ally. We're gonna draw Nasus. Hey, we got our Zed. Okay.
Get bloody, get paid.
So how are we gonna deal more damage here? The Sparring Student will be a 4 attack when our Zed's on the board, right? He'll just be a 3/3. I guess what this comes down to... No, we don't need to bank the mana. Okay.
Don't stand in my
So it's the same amount of damage, but this is kind of the infinity play.
Without a sound,
Success gets you noticed around here.
they follow the wrong
Good thing we drew the twin disciplines we didn't think we'd need.
Make it worth my while.
Okay.
I am the shadow.
We might get to like show off all the cool stuff I thought we'd get to do with this deck this game. It's at least we've got that going for us. Right, if we get the Sparring Student Twin Disciplines this turn, then oh, he's still going to kill our Zed, isn't he? No, he only gets 2 attacks into him. Okay.
He smells something.
I don't think he's going to survive. I think opponent's going to have the combat trick here. But if we get to go into next turn with a Sparring Student and then a Siphoning Strike play, you know, we get to showcase everything. I think it's very easy for them to have a trick here.
I shoot.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh, snap. Oh, snap.
How'd you do that?
So, I mean, this has to be safe, right? If he didn't have the trick last turn, like, he would have most certainly hooked our Zed.
Dog.
Okay. I guess we have to give up on this at some point. But it's probably going to be the end of it. Maybe he won't open. If he doesn't open on our Zed and we get the Weight of Judgment. Oh man, he's doing it. Oh, he's doing it.
Feed Demacia.
Okay, okay.
I can learn from watching you. Batter him.
Don't stand in my way.
So we're just gonna have 1 health Zed now? Nice. So this is a slightly awkward Nasus. Since like we're going to attack with these units, we're going to get the Living Shadow and the Sparring Student out on, or the Shark on the right. We really want our Nasus to be on the right, but all right. At least we got to show off some cool stuff, right? We had the tricks. Right, it doesn't matter what's here. We're taking the Zed. This is not a particularly good Zed. And then, you know, there is the argument at some point I would like to see Hecarim paired up with these Sand Soldiers, but this isn't the deck for that. We're too much a Zed deck and not enough a Ephemerals deck to go for the Hecarim. But, you know, this is a pretty cool theme, right? Finally giving Hecarim a little bit something else to get this, you know, Ephemeral allies get +3 attack bonus. So, we're taking the Zed over here, though. Alright, I was gonna be real sad if we just goose egged this run as well. It's been a frustrating day of Runeterra as far as these games are concerned. That was cool. I'm more upbeat now. Some of the salt has been has been rinsed away. We are good to go. So with this, I mean, I think we can get rid of the Predator. We're not going to play it until like the 5th turn, so I think it's a pretty safe card to get rid of. This is, you know, why I'm not like big on the Shadow Apprentice. I guess, you know, it's not that much worse than a Devori Blade Scout in the sense that this, you know, keeps elusive forever. But so right, so because we're going to play duo, we're going to play Zed. But on our, you know, on our turn 3 attack, we wouldn't be able to attack with Green Glade duo or with the Devory Blades got into this, I would attack with it because we have Zed on board and he's going to want to block Living Shadows, but you know, I think that kind of makes sense. That's more of this combo stuff, right? Soul Shepherd making the Caretaker tokens have additional health. Okay, he's got a free block on Zed with a Zir if he wants.
Faithless creature.
Okay. Still in a pretty good spot here. We've done a ton of damage against this guy with, you know, elusives on board. Okay.
Sharima's strength is yours.
I will light beyond
I turn it like so.
accept your fate.
Oh, yeah. This prevents an additional damage, right?
Be still now.
Okay.
In Sharima's name.
Okay, so I mean the idea is we're going to be playing Sparring Student Blighted Caretaker, but I think we can still just draw. See if we, you know, prefer to play a unit that isn't Sparring Student.
What's today's lesson?
Gets the additional point of damage on our Greenglade duo.
Oh, precious water. Full speed ahead.
Don't know what this would be. That he's just passing. It's not a Spirit Fire. That certainly costs 7. Okay. Ready, that should do it. Got him. Got him good. Okay, who do we have here? Not a whole lot of interesting, but I mean, Shaped Stone is going to be better than Rite of Calling. We certainly don't want 3 Rite of Callings here. It was pretty fantastic, that game, just using it to pick up Zed, but we can't just have these dead draws in our deck. I'm not opposed to be playing like 1 or 2 or whatever, but 3 is certainly way too many, especially when Zed's flip isn't very good. So, Shaped Stone it is. We never complain about having Radiant Strikes, so I can't remember if we have Rock Hoppers or not. I don't think we picked up any, but we have the Diaz, so we technically have a way to boost up our Shaped Stone. Righty, well, certainly hanging on to Zeds. Rite of Calling, not that great here. Not that great. Okay.
They picked the wrong row. Closing it
Got him.
hard.
First blood.
I hate having to put my face on.
Okay. Maybe he's got a Will of Ionia. Maybe not. Sweet. Now we can get our Zed down, and we have the Ruthless Predator should we need it. I'm gonna skip on playing Sparring Student. I think there's a world here where we make our Zed a 5 and hook whatever he plays. Then we get him for that extra 2 damage with the hook. So if he has Whirling Death, that kind of sucks, but that's the world we're in right now. Maybe the Rite of Calling will have its time to shine when he has the Whirling Death here. Yeah.
Into darkness.
We just draw it. I mean, I guess we can't be sitting around complaining about that, but
These dunes are the lifeblood
it's
of
awkward.
Shurima.
So awkward with this rite of calling. Okay, and
What do you call that technique?
what do you call that technique? I did just watch the Notorious B.I.G. documentary on Netflix.
Are you supposed
He has one of my favorite rap lyrics of all time. I got techniques dripping out my butt cheeks. I got to sleep on my stomach so I don't mess up my sheets. the, the wife was not impressed with my knowledge of that, but maybe the sparring student knows about the techniques. This is going to be a painful one. Under normal circumstances, being able to just add units to the board would be pretty big, but having drawn these rite of callings leaves us in a bit of a bind.
People to be.
So we can add this. We're going to lose some units here because we need to have 4 units on the board next turn if we want to get the good Blighted Caretaker. But let's see if we can't navigate this to at least get something out of Nasus. We can get 1 Slay onto Trifarian Hopeful, but that's it. Kind of
Just
bad.
on the winds.
Block, and we might as well just put the damage here. Since this thing doesn't die. Then if we do this, we kind of like have to draw a unit, but I don't think we get a lot of choice in the matter. Okay.
I am everywhere. I am everyone.
So can we do anything? Not really. We can do this. Watch this. Watch this. Oh, we don't have any more. Oh man, it counts as a slay. I guess it's not 100% dead. All right, yeah, we gotta get rid of these. You can't have draws like this. Right, there's just like a mulligan to 5 when we draw those 2 completely dead cards. The Rekindler, I mean, it's tough. This is like ideally a card we should never be able to put on the board. The game should just be over at this point. If this was like a Rite of Calling for a Ruin Runner, I would be like stoked for Mini Rumble, right? This is the kind of unit we want as our top end, something that could just like blast through for a ton of damage. Just imagine a lot of worlds where we just don't get this on the board, or we could put it on the board but don't have a champion spot for it. But it's a card. Let's take it. It's not a Rite of Calling. I think, I won't go out of my way to get rid of this last one. I do kind of still like this ideal as to where it kind of makes it where we have like, 3.75 Zeds or however that math, should technically work out. Should probably be a little bit less than that, but I think I want to keep the student and then just, search for Zed. Okay, pretty awkward.
I can learn from watching you.
Diana and Sivir. Okay. There's our boy.
If it's made of sand, I can write.
So, I don't really want our Zed getting vulnerable. We'll see how this plays out. I'm not opposed to him getting vulnerable if we just get a decent attack in or something, because we do have a bunch of combat tricks in our hand. But okay, that'll get us through it. Lots of Zed-based combat options now. You see what he says? You'll just never see me coming, and then with the rock hopper thing makes it say you got caught. It's clever.
I am the blade in the darkness.
Are you supposed to be here?
Okay, so nothing that I particularly want to Ruthless Predator. So I think we'll just attack here. I don't think it's quite worth, you know, Ruthless Predatoring a Sparklefly just to save our 2-1.
Anyway.
Defiance is our way.
This does not seem like a positive turn for AA LL. AA11. I don't know what that character is. Good.
You cannot
It
hold
just
us
gains 1
down.
health. You don't get anything. I guess you gain 1 health out of that total. Understand. The vulnerable falls off.
I am the shadow.
Okay. He's gonna boomerang blade, whatever happens here.
Gonna catch the sky!
It's a tempting block. Okay. I don't think we can boomerang blade here. What can we put on top? Would we rather just have Sandcrafter? Probably. That's probably the safe
I
play.
don't want to meet whatever woke you up.
I worry if we put like Sparring Student on top and he hasn't answered our Zed, and then we're not able to get full advantage out of these Sparring Students. And then if we pick the Sandcrafter, it gives us an additional way to get our Shark Chariots back on the board.
These dunes are the lifeblood of Shurima.
Kind of a similar Zeddy play.
What once was two, now is one.
Oh, and give enemy vulnerable. Okay.
When I move,
Alright. Would we have lethaled this? We could have lethaled him, right, if we would have put the Golden Sister on the right. We'd have fell to 3, no, it would have been 1 short. Okay. Okay. Do worry about losing our Sandcrafter. We lose a lot of raw power if the thing's off the board. But this kind of, showcases why I don't really want the Rekindler. He wouldn't be horrible here, where this game's kind of ground out pretty weird. But, in the kind of general sense, when our deck's doing what we want, this wouldn't have played out so well. Okay, let's try to get this. If he plays something weird, we can technically Ruthless Predator, but ideally we'll just kill both of his units here. Ugh. Ugh, I should have known better than that. Fuck. Fuck. That's bad.
Descend upon them.
I think we're still in a good spot to win this game, but I don't think I've ever actually run into this in this game, as to where how the stats are calculated with the negatives. But let's get the additional unit. Probably want to Weight of Judgment or whatever he plays, and then I don't think we'll be wide enough to kill him, but we'll at least have a full board. Okay, we can kill our Sandcrafter with the +3 attack, but that only prevents 1 unit from coming down. It's Sparring student, okay. This doesn't feel like super worth, but this gets us lethal if he doesn't, if his last card here isn't a unit. Right, we have the 7 from these guys. I guess he can not block the Chronomancer, but forcing him to block Shark Chariot's good. This would be a good spot to have Ruthless Predator. Instead of just playing it for stone nothing, this would be a good spot for it. But no, I actually haven't played against these negative attack cards. It's one of these things that I got to run into a lot of before I remember how things actually work. Dust Petal, Gem, Dust Petal. Okay.
You've got a problem, I've got a price. It's a living.
Got it.
Blood or gold.
This should be okay. I mean, we should be able to get pretty wide on him. He can play an annoying, like, Ricochet after we add our Doomkeeper next turn, but this should ideally be pretty tough for him to deal with. Okay.
My work.
Just need, like, 1 unit capable of attacking, and then that'll generate 2 more units. Okay, good game. See, this is pretty cool with the Sparring students, right? Not the worst combo of 2021. We've certainly played with worse. Certainly played with worse. Okay, and a Zed. This is, again, a horrible Zed, but we have to actually just take the champion here. I mean, Yusari is actually pretty decent in this deck. This is the deck where I actually do like Yusari's. You know, just having the difference between, like, Yusari coming down on 4 and the Empyrean coming down on 7 and having this, you know, just challenger unit can really just close out these games quickly. And so, you know, he's not that spectacular in a lot of decks, but in these like really aggressive elusive decks, I do really like Yusari. I don't think we'll get too much usage out of collectors here. At least like the perk with the collector is if we're doing Shark Chariot things, then it can still sit on our bench and we can have a fully wide attack. But again, he's not a, you know, it seems like he should be okay here, but I tend to not want to play 5 drops. All right, here we go. Yeah, I feel good now. My level of assault has subsided. We've got some wins under our belt. We've done some cool stuff that we thought we could do with this deck. Got some good siphoning strikes onto Zed. We got some good Sparring student stuff going on. We've got some Shark Chariots and Sand Soldiers. Like, cool stuff. Cool stuff we've been able to do here. Hopefully we can like really refine this into something special. It's got like, you know, way too much top end in it. There wasn't a whole lot that we could do about that. Ending up with, you know, the Vengeance and the Boomerang Blade and 2 Neverglade Collectors and all that stuff. That's stuff I'd like to be trading out of here, but you know, you can't have 6 duos and 7 Young Witches in every Zed deck. So we'll take our wins where we can get them. Okay. Rom and LeBlanc. Actually quite the annoying unit here. I had in my head that we were going to be able to do this like duo on 2, Zed Doomkeeper on 3. This thing. Ugh, this thing. Let's see if we can't do it this way.
That technique.
Follow along, little ones. The desert by my side.
Sweep the leg.
Just give him some options, right? Some choices that he can hook with this. You know, if the choice is sparring student, I'm pretty okay with that. We're gonna want to be making the making the magic happen here with Greenglade Duo Zed. The only real unfortunate thing here is our Zed is kind of naked, and so if he has even just brittle steel, can be a real pain. But hopefully Ruthless Predator will be able to get us around to play like that. Dude, so much. I've never seen so much affection at Poro. All right, all right. We'll have the defensives at that point.
I am the blade in the darkness.
Do we ever just like Ruthless Predator down the affectionate Poro?
How can Grom help?
Okay.
Full speed ahead.
We go as one.
So I guess we'll get the Poro Herder because he's going to want to hook our Greenglade Duo. Then we could shadow shift the Greenglade Duo if we want. It's not ideal, but see how this plays out. I think this is also okay if he just passes, right? There's a world where he just ends up passing to us. He has to be attacking here now. He's gonna Poro snack us. So, knowing that we still have another Zed in our hand, he's gonna get bad quick, is the problem with Zed here. As soon as our opponent has like the wall of 4/4, Zed is no good. But, dude is tapped out. We're gonna have a pretty powerful attack next turn. I think this is okay.
In order. Without a sound. I'll take him dead or near enough.
Let's move.
Hope we don't regret this. We could have done this thing where we played Emperor's Diaz to get the big Sharpstone, so that like Zed can survive a Fury of the North. Yeah. Hopefully we don't regret that too much.
Darkness.
What up, dog?
I walk through the ages.
Yeah, you can attack into here. He's not really that scary, right? Oh, cool. I mean, that's one of the downsides to things like Nasus. He just doesn't have Overwhelm. It doesn't have Elusive. Guess it does suck to have all your units get -1 attack while you're dealing with a 10/10, but... Right. So let's see. Not going to want Fading Icons or Haunted Relics. Are we going to pick up the Sonic Wave? I think we're pretty okay with this. I mean, we've had pretty good success with Ruthless Predator in this trial. It just seems, I guess it's not like all around better than the Sonic Wave, right? We had a couple of turns where we wanted to like vulnerable something and then save the attack for if our opponent has Brittle Steel, but I'm on board. Rather be trading for like on theme cool stuff. Give me some more sparring students and Emperor's Diaz's or something. Okay, so 2 Zoes, Diana Aphelios, but in the Nightfall colors. Okay. hang on to our Zed and see what happens. Okay, it gets like slightly awkward here. I don't think there's much reason to just add a Doomkeeper here. Might get a better turn in the future with a duo or a sparring student or something. But let's see how this interacts with Zoe. I'd say he's, not like super excited to see something get in the way of his Zoe, but if he's going to trade a card for a card, he's getting a 1 mana bonus and a star chart, so it's a pretty good deal for opponent. Even though I'm sure he doesn't want to lose Zoe here. Playing that game, cool. Give us a chance to pick up a vulnerable. Let's see what he does. If he just passes, I'm okay with it, because we have this like Zed protection and twin, this twin disciplines for the next turn. Don't fear the shrouded path, bruh. Okay, I mean, this would feel better if we had just some more stuff to do, things that we're happy with our units. But I guess we've played pretty on curve here. What else can we say? So I'd rather just not have rekindlers and Usaris. That's what this really amounts to. I want my cheapers. All right, so are we just gonna take down Zoe? I think we probably have to. She's not like super scary at this point. We'll probably give it a turn.
The world in a grain of sand.
The only reason I'm willing to do this is it's pretty hard for Shadow Isle's Targon to interact with Zed here. We might just have to pass, right? If he sends it back to us, then it's kind of unfortunate. But they don't have a whole lot of units that they could just drop here. Guess he's got an answer to Zed. That's what that amounts to. Okay, we'll pass. If you want to put the damage onto Sandcrafter, it's fine. I don't get why I wouldn't just stun our Zed. Weird to me. But at least now, I mean, if he wants to Paddle Star afterwards, we still get our Zed attack in. That's pretty cool, right? So it prevented some damage, but I don't think that turn panned out how our opponent intended it to.
Only a fool would enter battle unprepared.
Okay, I think this is good. This gets us in a spot to where next turn we can play Duo Doomkeeper, play one of these spells should we feel the need, and it doesn't quite leave us super vulnerable to what he's doing.
Find your own light within the dark.
And ultimately here, he's going to kill Zed, but we do have the Rekindler, so we can get something going at some point with him later. Not really wanting to get into a value game against a deck that, has Unspeakable Horrors and Aphelios is in it, and Zoe generating a bunch of cards, but, we have a bit of reach here. Dang. Okay.
I will
Dang.
be heard.
It's 7. I can't can't remember if he's played a Dusk Petal yet. I don't think he has. This has been the only Duskbringer he's played. So do we just need to open here? We probably just have to open. Yeah, seems fine. No, I want to get the duo down this turn after the fact. The idea being that we're going to play the Rekindler on Dude's turn. We're not going to lose any units. And then we can open with Zed on our following turn. That's the idea. And then we still just have the Twin Disciplines mana to play somewhere.
All beauty is transient.
Oh man, is he really going to get the flip? Like, I can see him like playing Dust Petal and then playing Pale Cascade. I don't Unto Dusk is going to be the way he gets there. He has the Pale Cascade now. Oh, that's brutal if he's able to flip this Zoe. Oh, that's really scary. Oh no. Maybe he was digging. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Okay. Well, I mean, we had opportunities to be aggressive on her. It's tough to play 3 bursts. So, we knew we had 1. That's why we opened, but I would have really suspected, if he played, like, 2. I felt 2 was believable. 3 is pretty tough to do. Alright. We gotta win this one real quick. And at least the perhaps saving grace here is we have like elusives. So, the way Zoe typically beats you is by playing either, the Golden Sister to get everything elusive lifesteal, or playing the 3/3 Celestial with elusive to give the whole team elusive. But having some of our own, we can come in and block. Snap that one off. Okay, that gets everything overwhelmed.
Side by side.
We burn, then kindle anew.
5, 8, 10, 13 total. So we gotta soak up at least 7 of it. Put the Rekindler in front of the Cloven Way. Where does that get us? Ugh.
Such naivete. I am a true master.
Oh, are we just dead? Oh.
Hold up.
Oh, man. Ugh.
Cut the breath from them.
That's the one we want to leave him with, right? Yeah. We're gonna lose our Zed and he gets to keep the Cloven Way. It's brutal. Fucking brutal. Make sad noises. Alright. Alright.
Look alive now.
Could be useful. We gotta find a Neverglade Collector. None of these are Neverglade Collector. Back to doing this kind of thing. So we'll get our elusive down. We can get our other bro down. We can play Doomkeeper We have to have this like 2 health unit
We were
to be able to block something. And then we can vengeance his cloven way. Why don't you have... Oh, it's when he plays the unit, so we just have to deal with a handful of these things. Okay. That's right. I just assumed everything just had all the abilities forever. Okay, okay.
See what we see, soldiers. Always forward.
No more cards, please. Sure. Alright. I think this one's gonna be done, but I don't know. I think if we'd snapped an Everglade Collector there, I think we could have had a chance. Since you can, especially since that was off the whatever that card is that puts the copy in your hand, so that we could potentially have turns with 2 collectors and just have 4 units die and do a bunch of cool stuff that way. But dude. I won't say that he doesn't like to have fun, but he probably doesn't like to have fun. No, let's see. Cool. We trade Nasus for Zed. I'm on board with that. These other cards are all things I'd like to be keeping. So yeah, you know, who needs the thing to just draw champions when you're just playing 4 Zeds? Easy peasy. All right, well, it's looking. I can't. Did we ever win 2 in a row in this one? I can't remember. Looking like it might be getting y'all a 13 game winner, a 13 gamer. Haven't given you all like the full value in quite a while, and so I think we got to 12 recently. We lost the final battle, but got up to 12. So, you know, I'd like to give y'all some value where I can, but okay. So this one's a touch awkward. I was hoping to, you know, pick up a 1. But you know, we got a lot of the value here in the Diaz and the Shark Chariot. So as long as we have, you know, an attacker each turn, then I think things should be happening. Okay.
The Yordle here's with me.
If he has the Mystic Shot, it's not the end of the world. Alright, let's get off to the races. I'm going to send this Shark Chariot out here. I assume that he never blocks it. But it seems much better than just playing the Diaz and having something that he's just going to throw a clump of lumps in front of.
Full speed ahead.
Halt.
Cool. Alright, here come the combos. Cool. So it comes down to now, do we want to like Stalking Shadows? I don't think so. I think we want to play Sparring Student, we want to play Diaz. Bank up to 3 so we can Twin Discipline something next turn, and then play Usari. Looks good. I think this looks good. Drum noises on the KDA thing? Hell yeah. Wish my board was interactive. Okay. Like I said, you know, some people don't like to have fun. And that just kind of is what it is. We'll just get him with the elusives, you know, we'll just do it the old way, I guess. Dude doesn't want to have fun. What am I supposed to do about it? Pretty sweet getting the Sand Soldier and the Shark Chariot. See, we're here having fun. This dude. Sad. Hashtag sad. Okay.
Let's move.
We can twin disciplines out of this dragon, that would be pretty good. We're clearly just gonna have to win with elusives. I'm thinking, yeah, Mystic Shot for real. Yeah, I guess this is kind of the same thing. Perhaps a little better, right? If he's going to be, hooking our unit down and we're just protecting it, at least this way, we get the kill. Yep.
Everywhere I go, the light follows.
So how do we order this? I think we're just going to have to like play Zed and hope for the best, but let's start with the Chronomancer, see if we can't find a combat trick. Perfect. We got the Ruthless Predator.
For justice and all things right.
Okay, and then we have to open, right? We can't. We could technically kind of risk running into a
I am the blade in the darkness.
final spark, but I really want to get Zed into combat onto this Lux right now. So, 2 vulnerable. These are attacking. These are attacking. This is happening, and then we get 1 more in. So let's attack with this. Try to get it off the board. Okay. Okay. Alright, so it's going to take him to 6 if memory serves. Okay, we're guaranteed to get an ephemeral with our... Well, I shouldn't say things like we're guaranteed to do stuff, because who knows what's going to happen with these with the Stalking Shadows here. But I think it should be fine. Okay. It's pretty big. Okay. So hopefully, we can play through some amount of final sparks. And then I want to play both duos next turn. So we just need to like not die here, then hope things go right for the duos. That's all. That's all we really have as our options.
A beacon through the dark.
We're not just dead here, right? These are gonna be 5s. Fuck. Okay. I'm intentionally playing the not ephemeral duo. Because I want it to be able to bring back the Shark Chariot. The Shark Chariot will let this have the additional point of attack.
It's not safe.
Sure. Right? Because if we just play this other Gringley duo, then we 100% have to hit a unit to win the game. But with this, it's ephemeral. It can attack. We can get our Shark Chariot back, and then get the 6 damage with Shaped Stone.
The Yordle here's with me.
Sonic Wave doesn't, quite apply there, but, imagine we had hit Vengeance. We would have been one damage short of winning the game.
Heard there was a little fella asking for me. Would a mushroom help?
Told you, man, some people just don't like to have fun. Some people just don't like it. It's not in their nature to like to have fun. What a shitty set of blocks. God, I hope we can get out of this some way. This is just like the ultimate lazy mode blocks. That's about right. I mean, I'm pretty sure this game's just done, but man, way to give someone an opportunity. It's all right. That it kind of is what it is. This deck, it's pretty cool. I like the idea here. I've been wanting to draft this for a while. I think we went like a little too much into it. I think that I was trying to do a little bit too much of everything here. I did want to, I've got to like piece this together maybe once. I know that for a fact that like I've drafted like Hecarim once and didn't find a Shurima. I've drafted Zed once and didn't find a Shurima, and this was like the first time that I picked up the Shadows and Dust Zed and found the Shurima, and I was kind of all excited about it, and I really just wanted to, put everything together in one package. And I just don't think that's the way to be doing it. It's just it's a little bit too much. It's like, yes, there's a lot of positive interactions across the board. We're getting a lot of good things happening there with sparring students and shark chariots. I just think it's just too much to be including in one deck. And so I think that's going to be our big takeaway now that we've actually got to come out here and draft this is, it's always been okay to draft Zed with Shadow Isles. It's not ideal. You do try to really turn yourself into an almost mono Ionia deck. We've drafted the Sparring Student deck many times to quite a bit of success. But the Shadow Isles cards do tend to be fine, right? You can find some Blighted Caretakers. You can find some haunted relics maybe and whatever, but you can have enough quantities of the Shadow Isles or the Ionia cards for it to be fine. And so I think where I was trying to get with that is I think we'll be okay with Ionia Shurima. We'll be okay with Ionia Shadow Isles. I think we'll be okay with Shadow Isle Shurima. We just don't want to be putting all three in the same deck is ultimately what I don't think we're wanting to be doing here. And so, I think that is the ultimate and big takeaway here is you don't want to be three factions. You just want to be two, because while there are some, there was positive interactions with the Blighted Caretaker as picking up Shadow Isles cards. There was some positive interactions, with the Shark Chariot, but it's going to be too tough to get like the real quantities of any of these cards that we actually want, right? If we're really trying to pursue the sparring student, then I guess ultimately, if we're going back to thinking about the draft phase, if we're like, okay, we're focusing on sparring student, then we want like two Ionia packs and a Shurima pack to show up. We don't want 1 and 1 and 1, and we don't want one Ionia, two Shurima. So as many times as possible, we want two Ionia packs to show up, or even three, so that if Discipline shows up, we can get a sparring student, or if Discipline shows up, we can get a Green Glade duo, or if Total Recall Karma shows up, we can get a Green Glade duo. And I think splitting into three factions, I know it does something to make your specific deck choices show up more when you go three factions, but I don't know if it's enough payoff to make up for the kind of other side of that, because I don't know. That's one of those things we'd have to know how all the math works to really dig in and understand how that works. But as it stands, I don't think these cards are cohesive enough for us to want to really chase after three factions. And so, as far as this trial goes, Shadow Apprentice, again, I was not real impressed with this. I didn't think we were going to be, but he was not very impressive. Just too hard to physically have an ephemeral on the board when you play this, and so it's typically just going to be a 1/1 elusive, which is pretty mediocre. Otherwise, if you're drafting the sparring student deck, you really don't want any of this top end and up in here. Basically, I would have been cool with like 2 or 3 Sandcrafters if we were, say, just Ionia Shurima. But like Weight of Judgment on down, I don't want any of these cards. Like I know it's really tough for someone that has such a limited background in card games to be like, I don't want removal spells. But I really just don't want Weight of Judgments, Boomerang Blades, Vengeances. It's just they have no place here. I would have been okay with Siphoning Strike. I think if we had, our removal suite as, say, like 2 Siphoning Strikes, and then if we had, 2 Ruthless Predators, maybe like 1 or 2 Twin Disciplines, and a couple Rock Hoppers, I would have been like super stoked with how this turned out. But, we just kind of ran into a spot to where we had to get, a few 2 expensive cards. We had to get rid of those 3 0 cost cards, and we had a bit of awkwardness here. But nonetheless, I think that awkwardness would have been alleviated had we only had 2 factions. So yeah, I think this turned out pretty reasonably. I was cool. I was real stoked we got to try this. It cleansed the salt right out of me. I was at like an 8 of 10 salt level at the trial start, and now at trial end I'm at like a 1 of 10 salt level, and so that's pretty good. There's no there's no complaints there on my sodium intake for the day. So let's go through it. Let's click on these rewards and see how things clean up. Maybe we'll get something cool here right at the end. No, not yet. Stone weaving. I guess stone weaving is kind of cool. Everyone's favorite, the wild capsules. Just wild cards. No cards to actually see. No opens. I do think it's the weekly chest here, or is it a loot box? It's a loot box. What do we got here? Some more essences. No cards, just 25 essence. All right. So that is going to do it for us today. I hope you all learned how to ride the Shark Chariot a little better. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.